There is a quiet truth we often forget. The way you begin your morning shapes the entire rhythm of your day. A restless mind, a heart already burdened with worries, a body rushing into tasks without pause. These set the tone for stress and fatigue that linger from dawn until night. But when the morning is embraced with calm awareness, with breath and presence, with a mind gently trained in mindfulness, the whole day unfolds differently. Like sunlight opening through the clouds, bringing clarity, balance, and peace. In the Buddhist tradition, morning is not only a time to awaken the body, but also a sacred opportunity to awaken the mind. Just as the rising sun dispels the darkness of night, training the mind at dawn illuminates the path ahead, clearing away confusion and preparing us to walk through the day with wisdom and compassion. To practice mind training in the morning is to plant seeds of peace at the very start, so that every thought, word, and action throughout the day grows from that foundation of clarity. Welcome to Buddha's Wisdom Journey, a space where ancient teachings meet the heart of daily life, where each video is a gentle invitation to return home to yourself. This journey is not about seeking something far away. It is about turning inward, noticing the patterns of the mind, letting go of what no longer serves you, and rediscovering the freshness of each moment. In today's video, we explore morning mind training, a Buddhist approach. This is not a set of complicated theories or lofty doctrines. Instead, it is a simple, accessible practice that anyone can bring into their mornings. Sitting quietly for a few moments, breathing with awareness, generating compassion for yourself and others, listening deeply to your body and mind, and setting a mindful intention for the day. These small acts, when done with sincerity, have the power to transform the quality of your entire life. Each morning, you might ask yourself, what do I want to cultivate in my heart today? Perhaps it is peace, perhaps patience, perhaps the strength to love more deeply. Buddhist mind training does not demand perfection. It simply guides us back to what is real, to the living truth of this very moment. From there, we can plant wholesome seeds, seeds that grow into kindness, resilience, and freedom. At Buddha's Wisdom Journey, our purpose is to walk beside you in this practice. Each video is a space of stillness and reflection, a reminder that you are not alone in your search for balance. We believe that as each of us learns to begin our mornings with mindfulness, we not only transform our own lives, but also quietly bring healing to the world around us. If you are seeking a way to start your mornings with clarity and calm, you are in the right place. Take a moment now to subscribe to Buddha's Wisdom Journey, so that each new practice and reflection can arrive to you as a gentle guide for your path. And if what you discover here touches you, please share your reflections in the comments. Your words, your experience, might be the very light someone else is searching for. Let this morning be more than the beginning of another busy day. Let it be the doorway to a deeper journey, a journey where every breath and every step becomes a way of returning to yourself. And on that path of awakening, know that Buddha's Wisdom Journey will always be here, walking with you. Have you ever noticed how your morning mood can set the tone for your entire day? Ames. The morning is like a golden doorway, offering us a chance to realign the whole flow of our lives. Right after waking up, the mind hasn't yet been pulled into worries. It hasn't been loaded with work pressure, and it hasn't been swept away by comparison or desire. It's the purest, most pristine moment of the day, and also the easiest time to plant seeds of peace and wisdom within ourselves. In Buddhism, teachers often remind us that morning practice is essential. It's like a farmer planting seeds when the soil is still fresh and moist. A tiny seed sown at dawn takes root more easily, grows stronger, and eventually becomes a flourishing tree. The mind works the same way. When we begin the day with calm breathing, mindful awareness, or a gentle prayer for peace, the entire day unfolds more lightly. There are fewer unnecessary conflicts, fewer moments of irritation, and more space in our hearts to embrace whatever comes. Think back to the days when your morning began in a rush, checking your phone the moment you open your eyes, comparing yourself to others, letting your mind drown in news and stress. On those days, irritation comes quickly, patience runs thin, and life feels heavier. But on mornings when you pause, sit quietly for a few minutes, breathe deeply, smile, and whisper a word of gratitude for being alive, that day feels completely different. You carry an inner strength. You're less shaken by circumstances, and even small things appear precious. Morning is the threshold between dream and reality, between the old and the new. If we see the mind as a garden, then morning is when the soil is soft and untouched, ready to receive new seeds. Just one wholesome thought, one mindful breath, one wish for well-being, for yourself and for others, becomes a seed of peace in that fertile ground. And what's beautiful is that this seed doesn't just carry you through that day. It slowly builds a foundation of inner stability for your whole life. Buddhist teachings often remind us, the mind precedes all actions. If the mind is peaceful, life will be peaceful. The morning is when the mind is easiest to shape, making it the most important time to set the direction of the entire day. It's like a boat on the ocean. Even the smallest adjustment in direction at the start will take it to a completely different shore. One clear, calm intention at dawn can transform how you think, feel, and act for the rest of the day. So treat the morning as a sacred gift. Don't let it slip away in haste and distraction. Pause. Take one deep breath. Feel your body and mind being fully present. Maybe read a short passage of Dharma, recite a simple mantra, or simply place your hands together and set the intention. May I live this day with kindness. May I not harm anyone. May I remain steady and at peace no matter what comes. These small acts carry tremendous power, helping you walk through the day with grace and clarity. Because when we learn to train the mind in the morning, we're not just planting seeds for today. We're planting seeds for the entire journey of our lives. Each sunrise becomes a chance to nourish peace, to awaken wisdom, and to remember that happiness is not somewhere far away. It's right here, in the quiet moment when dawn breaks and we open our eyes in mindfulness. Why is the morning considered the golden point for training the mind? To answer this, we can look from both the lens of science and the wisdom of Buddhism. Interestingly, both perspectives meet at the same truth. The morning is the most fertile time to shape the mind, like a blank page before the first stroke of ink, or fresh soil before a single seed is planted. From a scientific view, researchers have shown that right after waking up, the brain often operates in the alpha state. This brainwave state rests between full alertness, beta, and deep rest, theta. Alpha waves bring relaxation, openness, and heightened receptivity, which makes the mind more capable of learning, focusing, and even rewiring old habits. That's why the very first minutes of your morning are the perfect time to plant positive thoughts, peaceful feelings, and mindful intentions. If you begin your day with calm awareness, the brain registers a sense of safety. It tells your nervous system, you are at ease. This sets the tone for the whole day, keeping your mind clear and balanced even when challenges arise. From the perspective of Buddhism, morning is more than just a time of day. It carries profound symbolism. Dawn is the moment when light dispels darkness, representing awakening, wisdom, and renewal. That is why Buddhist practitioners often dedicate the early hours to chanting, meditation, or reciting mantras. In the quiet of the morning, the mind is still unburdened, less distracted, and more open to experiencing the miracle of breathing, of simply being alive. Each mindful breath at this hour is like a soft reminder, I am truly here. I am truly living. But if you let the morning start with anxiety, it's like dropping a single drop of ink into a clear glass of water. It spreads, clouding the whole glass. In the same way, one seed of worry can tint your entire day. You become more reactive, easily shaken, and less able to hold peace. On the other hand, starting your morning with a smile, a deep breath, or a quiet prayer for peace plants a seed of calm. That seed doesn't just stay in the morning, it quietly unfolds, steadying you through every encounter and every challenge. Think of your mind as a garden. Each morning, when dawn first breaks, the soil is soft, untouched by the winds of daily stress. This is when it's easiest to plant new seeds. And the seeds you plant are the life you will live. Sow peace, and you will reap peace. Sow anxiety, and you will reap anxiety. It really is that simple, and that profound. Morning practice doesn't need to be complicated. Just a few minutes of sitting in stillness, following your breath, or reading a short Dharma passage can transform your day. You could write down 3 things you are grateful for, or silently send blessings to yourself and others. These small rituals, repeated every morning, become like a compass setting your direction for the day ahead. Just as a sailor sets his course before leaving the shore, your calm morning practice sets your inner direction so you don't drift off course in life's storms. This is why morning is truly the golden point for training the mind. Science shows us that the brain is naturally open and receptive at this time. Buddhism reminds us that dawn symbolizes awakening and wisdom. Every day begins with a morning, and the way you choose to step into that sacred window of time has the power to determine not just the quality of your day, but the quality of your entire life. The core principle in Buddhism reminds us, the mind is the forerunner. The Buddha once said, the mind is the forerunner of all things. Whatever we think and dwell upon, we become. This is not just a lofty teaching. It is a living truth that can be tested in every moment of our daily lives. Think about an ordinary day. If your morning begins with anxiety, the rest of the day often feels heavy. A small problem at work, a passing comment from someone, or even a minor inconvenience can easily trigger irritation or discouragement. But if your morning begins with calm, just one deep breath, a moment of gratitude, you notice something different. You feel more resilient, more open-hearted, and your day unfolds more gently. The circumstances haven't changed. What changed is the state of your mind. The principle that the mind leads is like a mirror. Your life reflects the state of your inner world. If the mind is restless, even the best situations feel unstable. But if the mind is steady, even storms cannot shake you. True strength does not come from controlling the outside world. It comes from training the heart and mind within. The Buddha emphasized that all actions, words, and intentions flow from the mind. A peaceful mind produces kind speech and compassionate action. A restless mind produces anger, jealousy, and endless craving. Morning, in particular, is the most fertile ground to plant wholesome seeds. Like a sailor adjusting the compass before setting sail, the morning sets the direction for the entire journey of the day. If you train the mind each morning by returning to the breath, reflecting on impermanence, or simply smiling and sending blessings to yourself, you are planting a seed of stability within. That seed grows quietly throughout the day, keeping you grounded when faced with challenges. You no longer get swept away by every word of praise or blame, by every shift in circumstance. Instead, you carry a quiet strength that cannot be shaken. One teacher once said, "Morning is the doorway into the whole day. If you step through it with clarity, your day will be filled with light. If you step through it in darkness, your day will remain dim." This is why the most important question is not how much you achieve in a day, but what state of mind you cultivate at the very beginning. When the mind leads, it doesn't just shape the experiences of one day, it shapes the whole of life. Someone who tends to the mind every morning gradually builds an inner power that no circumstance can destroy. They stop chasing after external conditions or being ruled by fear and desire. Instead, they live with steadiness, generosity, and wisdom. So remember, when you take care of your morning mind, you are taking care of your entire life. Each sunrise is a reminder. The mind leads. Choose peace, for it will shape every experience you meet today. Waking up in mindfulness. The very moment you open your eyes in the morning is the most precious opportunity to plant the seed for the day ahead. For many of us, the first impulse is to grab the phone, scrolling through notifications, emails, and the endless stream of news from the night before. But when we do this, our mind is instantly pulled outward, and the quiet clarity of the morning is replaced with noise and distraction. There is another way, a way that allows you to begin your day in peace rather than in chaos. Wake up in mindfulness. Instead of reaching for the phone, pause. Place it aside and take 3 deep breaths. With the first breath, simply acknowledge that your body is awake. With the second breath, recognize the miracle of being alive. Your heart still beating, your lungs still breathing, your life continuing in this very moment. And with the third breath, open your heart to gratitude. Gratitude for the gift of another day, for the chance to see, to feel, to love, and to be. As you breathe, you might softly whisper to yourself, "I am awake. I am alive." These simple words are like a bell of mindfulness, calling you back to the present moment. Nothing grand is required. Just your full presence in the first moments of the day can change the entire flow of what follows. When you practice this, you'll notice something remarkable. The morning stops being a race against schedules and pressure. Instead, it becomes a gift. Just the simple fact that you are still here, still breathing, still able to open your eyes, is already a miracle. Many people in the world did not have the chance to wake up today, but you did. Holding this awareness plants a seed of deep gratitude, and that gratitude becomes a quiet energy that supports you through the whole day. Waking up in mindfulness also gives you back the power to direct your mind. Rather than letting the world decide how you feel, you choose how to begin your day. You create a space of silence before the noise of the outside world rushes in. And in that silence, you can affirm to yourself, "I choose peace. I choose gratitude. I choose to live this day fully." Imagine the transformation if you practiced this every morning. Day by day, the quality of your life would shift. You would no longer be so easily swept away by small annoyances or worries. You would meet challenges with greater steadiness, treat others with greater kindness, and relate to yourself with greater compassion. Morning is the beginning, and beginnings carry great power. To claim this power, you don't need anything complicated. Just a deep breath, a moment of presence, and a whisper of truth. I am awake. I am alive. This simple act becomes the seed planted in the soil of the new day. And from that seed, a whole garden of peace and clarity can bloom in your life. Morning meditation, 5 to 10 minutes. There is something quietly transformative about beginning your day with just a few minutes of stillness. You don't need elaborate rituals, incense, or hours of sitting like a monk on a mountaintop. 5 to 10 minutes is enough. Yet, the impact of these simple minutes can ripple throughout your entire day. Morning meditation is like pressing the pause button before life sweeps you into its current. The moment you sit down, you're choosing to set aside the weight of yesterday's worries and tomorrow's demands. You don't have to force your mind into silence. That's not the goal. Instead, all you need is the willingness to notice your breath. Inhale, know you are breathing in. Exhale, know you are breathing out. This simple awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. Of course, thoughts will still come. A to-do list for work, a conversation from yesterday, a worry about the future. That's natural. Instead of fighting them, you simply let them pass. Imagine you're standing by a riverbank, watching leaves float by on the water. Your thoughts are those leaves. They drift in, they drift out. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to hold on. You just watch. And something subtle begins to happen when you do this. Your mind softens. The constant noise that usually pulls you in every direction loses its grip. For a few minutes, you're not tangled up in stories. You're simply here, breathing, alive. It's as if you're rebooting your whole system. Just like restarting a computer clears away the clutter, morning meditation resets your mind. It refreshes your mental energy, quiets tension, and gives you a clear foundation to begin the day. After even a short session, you may notice your body feels lighter, your breath deeper, your heart more open. The anxious thoughts that usually pounce on you first thing in the morning don't have the same power. Why? Because you've already anchored yourself in a place of calm. You've built an inner space that no rush of emails, notifications, or expectations can invade. Think of this practice as lighting a small candle in a dark room. It doesn't need to blaze like the sun. Its gentle glow is enough to push back the shadows, enough to help you see the path ahead. And the best part? That light was always within you. It just needed your attention to shine. Over time, this simple morning ritual begins to shape who you are. You react less, you listen more. You carry yourself with a quiet steadiness that others can feel. Instead of being pulled around by every small irritation or worry, you walk through the day with a kind of grounded ease. A person who begins the morning in silence carries that silence like a secret blessing through the hours that follow. Morning meditation is not a task to be checked off. It is not another obligation on your schedule. It is a choice, a gentle decision to sit, to breathe, and to allow yourself to be fully present. From that choice, something profound emerges. An inner freedom, a spacious calm, and a steady clarity that no amount of anxiety can shake. A morning intention. After waking and centering yourself, take a quiet moment to set an intention for the day. This isn't about creating a rigid to-do list or forcing yourself into an idealized state of mind. It's about planting a simple, conscious seed in the soil of your awareness. For example, you might whisper inwardly, "Today, I choose compassion." In Buddhist wisdom, every action and every word begins first in the mind. When you choose a wholesome intention at dawn, you are laying down the foundation for how your thoughts, speech, and behavior will unfold. It is like sowing a seed that, with the nourishment of awareness, will naturally blossom throughout the hours ahead. The power of this practice lies in its subtlety. Even when the day becomes busy, even when challenges appear, that morning intention remains as a quiet undercurrent guiding you. It doesn't need to be repeated constantly. It is enough that it was born in the stillness of morning, when your mind is fresh and open. That gentle seed has the strength to steer you away from reactivity and toward clarity. When your intention is grounded in mindfulness, it naturally cultivates sati, awareness, samadhi, concentration, and panya, wisdom. These three, awareness, focus, and wisdom, are like the roots, trunk, and fruit of the same tree. With them, the mind becomes less fragile and less easily disturbed by outer circumstances. Imagine carrying "I choose compassion" into the small moments of your day, while you answer an email, while you step into traffic, while you sit across from a loved one. That quiet vow acts like a compass, keeping you aligned with what truly matters. And over time, the seeds you plant each morning become a garden of qualities: patience, kindness, resilience that will sustain you no matter what storms arise. The morning intention is not merely a thought, it is a vow, a reminder, and a beginning. When placed at the threshold of each new day, it transforms your routine into a spiritual practice and your life into a path of awakening. Contemplating non-self. Each morning offers a doorway into a wider view of who we truly are. Before the noise of the world rushes in, there is a quiet space where you can remind yourself, I am not just this small separate self. In Buddhist wisdom, this insight is known as anatta, non-self. It does not mean that you do not exist, but rather that your existence is not confined to a fixed, isolated identity. You are not simply your name, your job, your successes, or your failures. You are part of a vast web of life, connected to every breath of air, every drop of water, and every being who shares this earth. Reflecting on non-self in the morning can soften the tight grip of ego. Instead of waking with the pressure to prove yourself, you wake with a sense of belonging. Stress and competition arise when we believe we are separate. When we think life is a race we must win alone. But when we see clearly that we are supported by countless causes and conditions, by the sun that rose, by the food that nourished us, by the kindness of those who walked before us, the heart relaxes. Gratitude replaces anxiety, and connection dissolves comparison. Consider this. The air you breathe this morning has been breathed by countless beings before you. The water you drink has flowed through rivers, clouds, and oceans for millions of years. Even the thoughts you carry are influenced by teachings, stories, and relationships that shaped you. You are not standing alone. You are an unfolding continuation of life itself. By contemplating non-self, you reduce the weight of me and mine. Suddenly, setbacks are not personal failures. They are simply movements in a much larger flow. Successes, too, are no longer trophies of the ego, but shared fruits of interconnection. This understanding does not make life dull. It makes it freer. It gives you space to act with kindness rather than defensiveness, with generosity rather than fear. In the quiet of morning, sit for a moment and breathe with this reflection. This body is not truly mine. This mind is not truly mine. They are part of a great stream, passing through time. Notice how this thought lightens the heart. Notice how it reduces the urge to compare, to grasp, to control. When you carry this insight into your day, you may find that stress loosens its hold. The drive to outshine others softens into a willingness to walk alongside them. The irritation you feel towards someone may transform into understanding. for you recognize that they too are caught in the same web of causes and conditions. The practice of non-self each morning is like stepping back from a narrow tunnel into a vast sky. You realize that the self you protect so fiercely is only one wave in the ocean. And when you see yourself as ocean rather than just wave, life becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance. The first mindful action morning doesn't just begin when your eyes open. It truly begins with the choice you make, whether to rush into the day or to step into it with awareness. From the very first moment, you can plant a seed of peace for the whole day, simply through the way you carry out small actions with mindfulness. Start with a glass of water. Before drinking, pause for a moment. Feel the coolness of the glass in your hands. Realize that this water is not just water. It is the gift of rain, rivers, clouds, and the effort of countless beings who made it possible for you to drink clean water today. As you bring it to your lips, breathe slowly. Drink as if it were the very first sip of water in your life. Notice it flowing down your throat, refreshing your whole body. What seems like an ordinary act becomes a quiet ceremony of being fully alive.
Then, move to breakfast with the heart of a meditator. Eating is not just about filling the stomach. It can be a moment to come back to yourself. Hold the spoon or chopsticks as if they were tools of presence. Chew slowly, tasting every texture and flavor. Recognize that each grain of rice, each piece of fruit, each slice of bread carries sunlight, rain, soil, and human effort. In every bite, the universe is nourishing you. Eating this way not only feeds your body, but also nourishes gratitude and inner peace. Mindfulness does not demand hours of meditation or rituals. It begins here, with the simplest things: a sip of water, a mindful bite, a conscious breath. Every time you act with awareness, you send a message to your soul. I am here, I am alive, and this life is a miracle. Many people believe spiritual practice only happens in temples or on a meditation cushion. But if you drink water without really drinking, or eat while your mind races to work, then the practice is shallow.
On the other hand, when you turn a sip of water into a mindful ritual, or a meal into a moment of presence, your whole life becomes a place of practice. Imagine if every morning you began this way, with presence, gratitude, and calm. You would step into the day with a different energy. Even when work is heavy or life feels demanding, your mind would have an anchor, a still center within you that stress cannot shake. It's not about what you do, it's about how you do it. Picking up a glass absent-mindedly is just habit, but picking it up mindfully transforms it into a practice of awakening. Eating in a hurry only feeds the body, but eating in awareness nourishes both body and soul. So don't underestimate these first mindful acts of the morning. They are the key that unlocks a day of presence. And when the little things are done with awareness, they ripple outward, carrying peace and clarity into everything you do. The benefits of starting your day with mindfulness. A day that begins with awareness unfolds very differently from a day that begins in distraction. When we plant the seed of mindfulness in the very first moments of the morning, the entire journey ahead is infused with clarity, peace, and a quiet strength that carries us through whatever comes our way. First, a clear mind leads to clear decisions. Most mornings, the mind is easily pulled into worry, unfinished tasks, responsibilities waiting ahead, or fears about things that have not yet happened. When we allow that current of thoughts to sweep us away, the whole day becomes reactive, filled with tension and poor choices. But if we start with one mindful breath, a glass of water sipped in full awareness, or a breakfast savored slowly, the mind becomes steady and luminous. With clarity, we see things as they truly are. We no longer choose based on fleeting emotions or impulses, but from a place of wisdom and balance. Second, the energy of inner calm protects us from being carried away by stress. Modern life is full of pressures, work demands, family responsibilities, social expectations. If we rush into the day ungrounded, the mind is like a fragile leaf caught in a storm. Yet when peace is cultivated in the morning, it becomes a quiet river flowing within us. Stress still arises, but it cannot drown us. Peace does not mean the absence of challenges. It means the ability to remain centered, even in the middle of them. Third, our relationships soften and become lighter because we enter the day not with a heavy ego, but with a compassionate heart. The ego constantly demands to win, to prove, to control. It is the ego that makes words sharp, gazes cold, and hearts closed off. But a morning nurtured with stillness transforms the way we meet others. We smile more easily, we listen with patience, and we look at people with kindness instead of judgment. Those around us can feel this gentle energy. Conversations flow more smoothly, conflicts lose their edge, and connections deepen in authenticity. Morning mindfulness practice is not just a personal habit, it is also a gift we offer to the world. When you are peaceful, your peace becomes a refuge for others. When you are clear, you bring clarity to those who are lost in confusion. And when you walk with compassion, you plant seeds of love in the lives you touch. You may think these practices are too small, too simple, yet it is from these small, simple beginnings that a meaningful day is built. And it is from a collection of mindful days that a truly meaningful life is born. Morning mind training, a simple but transformative practice. In truth, training the mind in the morning does not have to be a complicated ritual. You don't need an elaborate schedule, countless mantras, or hours of sitting still. What matters is consistency and sincerity. Just a few minutes of mindful practice, rooted in Buddhist wisdom, can shift the energy of your entire day. There's a saying, if you win the morning, you win the day. The morning is the foundation, the starting point, the moment when the mind is most open and receptive. Like fresh soil waiting for the first seed, your mind in the early hours absorbs deeply whatever you choose to plant. If you begin with restlessness, stress, or endless scrolling on your phone, you set the tone for distraction and exhaustion. But if you start with calm breathing, a gentle reflection, or an intention for compassion, you create a day that unfolds with clarity and purpose. Buddhist practice reminds us that the mind is like a garden. Neglect it, and weeds of anxiety, anger, and craving quickly take over. Nurture it, even for just 5 minutes each morning, and it becomes fertile ground for peace, wisdom, and kindness. These few minutes are not wasted. They are an investment that multiplies throughout the day. So what does morning mind training look like in practice? It could be as simple as sitting quietly with your breath, noticing the rise and fall of the body. It could be silently repeating a phrase of compassion. May I be at peace. May others be at peace. It could be taking a slow, mindful sip of water, or stepping outside to greet the morning air with awareness. These are not grand gestures. They are gentle reminders that life is lived in the present moment, and that each moment is a chance to begin again. Now, here's the invitation. Try this for 1 week. Every morning, dedicate just 5 minutes to training your mind. 5 minutes to pause, breathe, and return to yourself. 5 minutes to choose presence over distraction, calm over chaos, compassion over ego, and then observe the difference. Notice how your decisions become clearer, how your energy feels steadier, how your relationships soften with kindness. See for yourself how these 5 minutes ripple through the hours that follow. The beauty of this practice is its simplicity. You don't need special equipment, a sacred space, or even prior experience. All you need is the willingness to begin. Each morning, the universe hands you a fresh page. Morning mind training is the pen with which you choose what kind of story will be written that day. Remember, the small seeds you plant in the quiet of dawn can blossom into a life of peace, clarity, and freedom. Winning the morning is not about conquering time or achieving perfection. It's about aligning yourself with wisdom and compassion so that whatever comes your way, you meet it with steadiness and grace. Perhaps after listening to these reflections, something gentle has begun to stir within you. Not an urge to chase after something outside, but rather a quiet reminder to return home, to yourself. Because the peace we've been searching for all along does not lie in the future, nor in the things we try so hard to accumulate. It has always been here, within us, waiting to be noticed. The only question is, will we pause long enough to see it? Every morning, before the sun fully rises, when the world is still quiet, you are offered a precious chance to plant the seed for your day. If you choose to begin with hurry, the mind will quickly be swept away by endless tasks and worries. But if you choose to start with a mindful breath, with gratitude, with a silent wish for peace, then you are gifting yourself a steady foundation to walk through the hours ahead. The Buddhist path of practice is not far away or mysterious. It reveals itself in the simplest of daily acts: a mindful breath, a moment of stillness, a kind word, a glance filled with understanding. Small as they may seem, these gestures hold the power to transform the entire quality of your life. And I truly believe that if you give yourself just 1 week, 5 minutes each morning for training the mind, you will notice the change for yourself. No one will have to tell you. Your own experience will be the proof. You'll find your heart lighter, your mind steadier, and the things that used to weigh you down may no longer have the same grip on you. If these reflections have touched you, I warmly invite you to continue walking this path of inner cultivation with me. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the upcoming sharings. Simple practices and Dharma reminders that may serve as little lanterns on your journey. Each video is like a soft call to return, to pause, and to breathe when life pulls you away. I would also love to hear your voice. Please share your experience in the comments below. How do you begin your mornings? Or perhaps, after trying 1 week of morning mind training, what shifts did you notice? Your story may become the very spark someone else needs to start their own journey. Sometimes, a single honest word can carry great power. In this noisy, restless world, we need each other as gentle reminders, as lights to guide, as companions who walk alongside. Your comment is not just text on a screen. It can be a seed of peace sown into another heart. So, if this message resonates with you, let's nurture a small community here, a space where we can return to stillness, wisdom, and compassion together. Subscribe to the channel and leave your reflection below as a gift for yourself and for all who may come across it. Because in the end, this path is not a solitary one. We are all learning to slow down, to live more deeply, and to live true to the heart.